Peace and grace to you. My name is Benjamin. Today I want to share something deeply personal and profoundly theological and urgently needed for this moment in our culture. I want to tell you about my new book and how I arrived at it, what it means, and why I believe God himself has set his hand upon this word. It's not merely a memoir. It's an apologetic. It's a testimony. It's a story of a man being rebuilt by truth of God after being shaped by years of trauma, street culture, and grief, and the weight of the world. How this book was born. It was not written out of ambition. It was written out of my brokenness. It was written from the death of my daughter, from the death of my best friend, from childhood trauma I never had the language for, from the streets of Cleveland that taught me survival instead of identity, from the wounds of fatherlessness, addiction, and despair. And in the middle of all that, God confronted me, not with the sentiment, but with truth. Van Til showed me that every experience, whether it's trauma, rage, shame, or grief, happens in the face of God. Nothing is neutral. Nothing is secular. Everything is theological. And that became the foundation of this book. What this book is about, it's about a story being around 4 A's: anger, arrogance, addiction, and affirmation. But these are not merely motivational sound bites. They are deep explorations of Reformed theology, biblical worldview, transcendental apologetics, Freudian unconsciousness, Rogerian healing through presence, Erickson's developmental crisis, and the reality of being a black man in the culture that grooms boys to imitate brokenness. This is what this book is about, and how a man is formed and how God reforms him. Why this book matters now. We live in a moment where truth has collapsed under a relativism, where culture has confused what manhood is, where trauma is untreated, and where entertainment disciples our children more than the church. Black men in particular are drowning in pain without language for it. This book speaks to that void. It confronts what shapes us. It exposes the lies we inherited. It unearths the wounds we hid, and it calls us back to God, who alone can rebuild the soul. Who is this book for? This book for men who want to understand themselves, for women who want to understand the men they love, for counselors and pastors working with trauma, young adults wrestling with identity, anyone grieving, anyone searching or rebuilding, and the entire black community that is seeking clarity and healing. This book is not just something to read, it's something to grow through. In closing, my friends, my prayer is that God uses this book as a tool of healing and an awakening, and even if one person sees God's grace through this story,